Hello, everyone. It is the last Friday of the year. This is so exciting. We have made it through 2024. Almost. Actually, we have a
Yes.
couple more days left, but we made it through all the Fridays. Very exciting. So, this is Steph Lee, founder of Host Agency Reviews. And on with me today, co hosting, is our December friend that co hosts with us all December almost, Jennifer Dugan with Dugan's Travel. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm really excited. I just had a week off and feeling really rejuvenated. So hopefully everyone had wonderful holidays and getting ready for the new year.
Yes, can't wait.
I know, very excited for 2025. And I'm excited for all of the travel advisors out there because I know as soon as January 2nd hits, everyone's phones are going to start ringing, especially here in Minnesota when the temperature drops. So
Yes, for sure.
well, let's see if this, for whatever reason, is your first time tuning in. If you have questions, we love to answer them. You can go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15 to submit your question for 2025, and we will get to it as soon as we can. And other call to action for you before the end of the year. If you haven't signed up and registered for Host Week, it is free, it is fun, and it is full of information. It is coming the last week in January. It's full of keynotes, education sessions. There are 30 something interviews with hosts, 5 consortia interviews, and 5 coffee spots where you get to learn in depth with different vendors or companies. So make sure to sign up. We will put the link in the comments for you. And then let's get into today's questions. And these are really nice and I was just telling Jennifer Busan, and I'm like, these are really nice. We don't have to think too hard. These are right up our alley. So thank
Yes.
you to Anonymous. I don't know if this is the same person or 2 different ones. So first question is, hi, I have been listening to the Friday 15th this month. Thank you for all the information. What's the typical timeline from starting as a new advisor to becoming profitable? Great question. What do you see in your network?
So it definitely varies. I have seen agents that have come on and just gone gangbusters right away. Those agents tended to have a network already. Maybe they had another business that they were doing. They knew a lot of people who traveled. They were already doing travel for people in some cases and not getting paid for it. So they started out with that client base already, kind of to get started, right? But keep in mind, even for someone like that, it's still going to take a little while because you're making bookings now and you're not going to be getting paid until usually after travel is completed. So there's that lag time. So
Yeah.
even if you come in like that, you're still going to have time before you're actually seeing money coming in. Then for the person that doesn't have that client base, well, you're going to be building it. So it's going to take you longer. It doesn't mean you're, years out. It just means depending on how you are or how aggressive you are in your marketing efforts and getting in those clients, will you see the profit? I would say for most people, they don't see a whole lot that first year, but hopefully by year 2, they're starting to see their work is paying off. I've got agents though that are hitting, 15,000 a year at 2 years because they hit the ground running. So it does take time to build it. So if you're in a place where you're hoping, like I've got a lot of people who want to retire, so they have to plan it out, right? You're not going to retire today and have an income stream. So you really need to just, realize that it does take time.
And that's for those of you that haven't, are just getting your feet wet and haven't really dove in, and you're probably like, Jennifer's saying 15,000 at year 2 and is excited about that.
Yes.
And that is something that's really important to know about travel. And that is why most people are part-time when they start, because not a lot of people have the luxury of being able to live off $15,000 a year. They usually need to have a supplementary income from their partner or themselves working full-time. So a couple things I want to resources for you that I'm going to throw out, Anonymous. One is our article on how much do travel agents make. It gives information specifically on the hosted advisors and how much they make. And then we have a graph of how much people make over time in our research reports, which Let me actually share my screen. So for those that are listening to the audio version, you're check the link for looking at the Friday 15 episode on the site, because then you can watch the video that'll have this information. But let me pull this up. So if you're not familiar with our research reports, they're really in depth. This is our one on hosted advisors. And let's see, we're going to look at the new hosted advisor, the income summary. And so let me see, we're looking. So there's two things. So one is going to be the startup costs that most advisors have. So when you're talking about making a profit, it actually, you might make a profit your first year, depending on when your bookings are and when they're actually traveling from when you made the booking. But because most people only spend about $1,500 on getting their agency starting up, you really only need a couple bookings to come through before you'll technically be making a profit.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can live off of it, though. So
Yeah,
that's
right.
some information for you. And then, here we go. Dun, dun. We're going through a lot here. I should have pulled this up ahead of time. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so here's kind of the first year, second year, what we're looking at. And so if you're doing it part-time, which a lot of people are doing, again, the average is about $5,000 for your first year if you're part-time. It's about double that. You can pretty much, for the first year, just double things, and you're going to get about $10,000 for full-time. Second year, now you're going to start getting those repeats and referral clients, which is super exciting. And you're obviously going to be making more. So your second year, if you're doing it part-time still, you're going to about double your income to about $10,000. But if you are doing it full-time, that's where things really start kicking in, and you're going to move from $10,000 to about $23,000, $24,000 is the average. So those are some great resources for you on hard numbers, averages, things like that, instead of gut feelings.
Yeah.
And we will link to our article on how much do travel agents make, how much does it cost to become a travel advisor or to start your travel agency, and then our article or our research reports for people that are interested. And Jennifer, you do a lot of your advisors start part-time too as they're getting started?
Yeah, actually, most of them do start part-time. Interesting enough, of my top 3 agents this year, 2 of them have full-time jobs. And that
Wow.
is shocking to me because they're making over $60,000 a year selling travel on top of a full-time job. So it's doable for those people who are go-getters, but it's definitely hard to balance all that.
I
So,
would
and then
not be able to do that.
yeah. I don't know how they do it. I'm shocked every time that I pull our list and I'm like, wow, they're up there and they're selling a lot. Now, it does sometimes help to be outside the home because you have those connections
Connections.
too, right? So you're not just at home, scrambling, trying to find ways of getting yourself out there. You're already out there if you know a lot of people and you work. So it can benefit you, but the time is the factor, right? Is just trying to find that time. And we've got more and more agents as they get more successful. They're like, I might have to think about, either cutting back on my full-time job or, what do I need to do? So, that's definitely something to think about. But yes, most of them start out part-time. They're doing it on off hours, which you can do with this business very easily. You do not have to feel like you have to be most most of us have gotten used to that in the industry. An 8 to 5 travel agency job isn't as standard as it once was. So suppliers, you've got technology, you can be working. I mean, I work sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's definitely possible for you to do whatever time you want
Yeah.
to start building your business. And if you're looking for a good income stream like Anonymous might be, you got to start somewhere and just build it. And it will come if you're working on it.
It will. And really, we only showed you in the reports because that was the new advisor section, which
Yes.
we consider 0, 1, and 2 years experience. But year 3 through 5 is where you really start to see
Yeah.
the income, the The trajectory of the graph goes at like a 45-degree angle. It's kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
Well, next question is, I am exploring a career as a travel advisor, and I am seriously thinking about starting my agency in 2025 after Host Week. Yay!
Yay.
I'm worried about competing with Booking.com and Expedia. How do these companies affect an agency's business model and ability to compete? Great question, and important to be able to answer if you are going to be a travel advisor. What do you advise people to say?
So it's all about your value proposition. What do you bring to the table? It's not necessarily that those websites beat out everything. And I think that's a general misconception all the way from, I mean, the person that you are working with as a travel advisor, when your clients come to you, they might be thinking that also. And so education is key there because
Mm-hmm.
we have access to things that a booking engine does not have access to. We have suppliers that you're not going to see on the internet because they work directly with agents, for one thing. So we have that. Plus, it's just that knowledge and information. For example, if someone was to come to me and say they wanted to do this particular trip, I would have the ability to look at it and see what they could do differently and what other options there are. If you're just plugging in some dates on a website, you're not going to get those suggestions. Not going to get those, they might throw up a hotel that I know you'd never want to stay at. So it's those kind of things that a travel advisor does that sets us apart from these online booking engines. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember I've been in this industry long enough that I remember that doomsday of the travel websites were going to put us out of business. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is a lot of those travel websites are no longer in existence, and here we are still strong today. So there's definitely a correlation with that a website can't do with it what an agent can do. And it's really hard for someone who's not in the industry to really see that. But once you get in and you find your host and you figure out where you want to go, you're going to be just blown away with all that you have. And some of the websites you can work with even as a travel advisor. So don't necessarily feel like they're going to be your competition. They could be a partner too.
Exactly. And there's some neat stats. So I'm going to link to a couple articles we have that can really help you anonymous get a better feel for things, because it is, like Jennifer says, a little bit hard if you're not a travel
Yeah.
advisor to understand the value that you're bringing to the table. And we always are talking about value, but you'll really start to see it once you are researching and planning someone's trip, all the work that goes into it that a
Yeah.
computer just can't do. So one of them is 3 ways travel advisors save you money. And it talks about some of the things that are unique to travel advisors, like the fact that you can put payments. So I know there's Klarna and other payment option plans now, but with a travel advisor, you're able to offer them essentially payment options because they can put down a deposit on most trips, depending on when they're booking it, if it's far enough out. And then the final payment isn't due until a couple months before departure, which is very unique. And then we have an article on using a travel agent versus booking online and kind of what the differences are. And then for some statistics, for those statistics nerds out there, I wanted to share a couple things. So let me see how I can do this. Okay, I'm going to do this. All right. One is travel advisors. A lot of people don't know this outside the industry. They book, there'll be different numbers here, but I've seen anywhere from 60 to 70% of all cruises that are out there. That's huge.
Yes.
They book 75% of tour packages and they book 40% of all air travel, and that's through ARC. So they still sell a significant chunk of travel. You just don't see them as often because we don't have the main street travel agencies, storefronts
Yes.
as often. There's a lot more home based. And then one of the other things is Internova. And if you're not familiar with Internova, so that's Internova Group. They own through a ton of different travel industry brands. The one you're probably most familiar with is Travel Leaders,
Mhm.
but they own about a third of all agencies within the US. And by own, I mean underneath their brands are somehow affiliated with it. And what they did is they come out every year with this North American Traveler Insights. And let me show you page 10, because page 10 is super exciting.
Yeah.
And for those that are listening in, we will link to where you can download this on your own. But what we're looking at here is 2019, 2024, and 2025. And they asked travelers, are you using an online travel agency or an OTA, as it's commonly called, or are you using a more traditional travel advisor? So prior to the pandemic, which was 2019, we had about 35% of people were using travel advisors, and it is almost flipped. So 2025,
Yes.
60% of people are expected to use a travel advisor, and only 40% are expected to use an online travel agency. And this goes more into here. Like if you're looking at something like an ultra luxury travel, they're more likely to use a travel advisor
Yeah.
than people that are more budget travelers or mainstream travelers. But lots of interesting information in here. So if you're a travel advisor, you should definitely download this. And it gives you great factoids as well when you're talking about educating your clients on not only the value you bring, but that travel advisors actually book a ton, the majority of travel. And a Focusrite report I think it's called the Travel Agency Landscape Report. They have that in 2026, travel advisors are going to pull, like traditional travel agencies will pull in second for bookings, and OTAs actually will move into third place. So travel
Oh,
advisors will be at 26% of the market share in terms of sales. And then OTAs, I think, are going to be at 21%. So take
yep.
that and just
Mhm.
like spread the word, everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I'm seeing it on my end dealing with suppliers that they are really doubling down on us.
Yes.
They're offering more for us. They're coming to us because we've had suppliers in the past who've tried and said, okay, we're going to cut out the travel agent and we're going to go direct and just do, and it did not go well for them. So they've all learned that we are, a valuable part of this industry. And I think it's a great time to become a travel agent because it really is that our value is out there in mainstream. And the pandemic taught us anything, it was because when all the stuff started happening, if you had booked through a online travel website, you were in trouble because you could not get a hold of anyone. You could not get anything done. There were so many agents who stepped in and saved the day for people. Meanwhile, our world was collapsing around us, but because of what we do and the passion that we have, we were taking care of people, even sometimes those people that had gone elsewhere if we could.
Hmm.
Um, of course, your hands are very tied when we don't, if you're not the person who made the booking, there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot you can do. But guidance, support, whatever we could do. And so people saw that. And I think that graph really does show what's happening in our industry is that we have been able to show that we're needed, and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
valued. So I think, and they're talking about generations, like the generations that are coming up that are going to be the ones out there wanting to buy travel, they're even more likely to use a travel advisor. So I'm excited. I think our industry is going to see even a bigger boom this year. So it's a great year to get in on it, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm super excited for you because it's also really fun to let people, I find anyhow, really fun to let people know these facts, because there's
Yes.
been such a misconception because you don't see those travel agencies anymore. So people think
Yeah.
they don't exist. But They do think they exist when the pandemic happens, when all your friends are calling you and saying, I can't get anyone. I've been on hold for the last 2 weeks
Yes.
after work. Like, help, Steph. I'm like, I can't. Sorry.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we got a lot of calls that were just people who were
At
it
least
was
you're a travel agent. I'm like, I've
yeah.
told you a million times I'm not a travel agent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that you guys all get lumped into you being able to do stuff for us. So,
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I'm excited though. I'm excited for 2025. Anonymous, I am excited that you are thinking about joining the industry and you're going to be
yes.
tuning in for host week because it is a fire hose of information, but I guarantee you it's a fantastic way to get to know host agencies in a very different way from reading them online and on people's sites, or even just on our site, reading the reviews. And there's a lot of educational opportunities. We try to make sure we cover a whole bunch of different topics so that you have a little bit about like your finances, you have some stuff on marketing, some stuff on sales, stuff on accessible travel. So you get a little taste of everything out there and it really whets your appetite to jump into the industry. So
Yeah, and you'll be shocked and amazed how many host agencies there are and how much they offer, and you're going to find the right home that will make you feel like this is, where you're meant to be. And I think we all, as a host agency community, we all know that there's a right fit for everyone. So just got to find it. And that's a great place to get a snippet to see who you might be interested in learning more about.
definitely. So we are wrapping things up for the last Friday
Yay!
15 of 2024. And Jennifer, we are going to link to Dugan's Travels host profile on HAR so people can read up all the love from your advisors and ask you any questions on there. But we'll also link to your website. Is there anywhere else you want people to check out? You're going to be in host week. I don't think we have the
Yes,
dates yet. Do we have the dates yet?
we might.
Okay, Rita. So for host week, we pre-record all of the host interviews. That way we can tell people if you want to listen to Jennifer, sign on at
Yes.
2:10. So it takes us a little bit of time before we can get the schedule out because of that exactness. But if we have the time, we will put that in the comments for everybody. Otherwise, just make sure to register because when you're registered, you'll get the emails that'll have all the information on it.
Yeah, I think there's a day that there's a lot of us that will be coming across. So it's a great day to really see all the mini hosts that we have
Yeah.
available in our industry. So it'll be great for everybody to see.
Excellent, excellent. Well, everyone, we are wrapping up 2024. Thank you for
Yay.
joining us on the Friday 15. Jennifer, thank you for keeping me company almost all of December.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. I'll be back next year.
Yay, yay. All right. And if you have questions, don't forget, go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15, submit your questions, and we will see you in 2025. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.